Hey, it's Risa here with another episode of Ask Risa. If you have watched the previous videos and you're paying attention, you may notice something different. This video is landscape. I have been recording these for Instagram and just basically letterboxing them for YouTube because I didn't want to record everything twice, but I thought I would give it a try this week and see how it goes. I ad-lib these videos. They're totally off the top of my head. I don't have a script, so if I do it this way, it won't be exactly the same video on YouTube that it is on Instagram, but I'm gonna give it a try, so we'll see how it goes. So last week I was talking about venue shopping and a couple of tips to keep in mind as you begin. And I mentioned that some venues have minimum guest counts that you have to meet. And I mentioned that that often happens with places that do their own in-house catering. Hotels pretty much always have their own in-house catering, but there are some other venues around that have an in-house catering department, and so they have a minimum that they want you to meet. So catering is a big deal. You need to think about that as you're venue shopping, because if you go with a place that has in-house catering, they have a lot of other stuff that goes along with that. They have tables, they have chairs, they have plates and flatware and glasses and tablecloths and napkins. They have the whole shebang. If you end up with a venue where you're bringing in your own caterer, you have more flexibility because you get to choose your caterer and you get to establish a relationship with them and customize the menu a little bit more than you can with an in-house caterer. But you also have to bring in all the rest of that stuff, which means you have to rent it, and that adds to your expenses. Most venues that don't have in-house catering, they might have tables and chairs, but that's it. You're gonna have to rent literally every fork, glass, plate, napkin, tablecloth that you bring into that place. And those things don't cost a lot in and of themselves. Each individual item is very inexpensive, but if you have a wedding for 150 people, that stuff adds up really fast. So if budget's a really big concern for you, then that is definitely something to keep in mind. In addition to the things I've already mentioned, something else to think about is when you visit these places, check their cell phone service. Like, pull out your cell phone while you're there. Try to get on the internet, try to make a phone call, see if you actually have coverage out there. And if somebody with you is on a different cell phone carrier, have them do the same thing. Cell phone coverage matters a lot for a lot of reasons. First of all, a lot of people these days, they don't drive to weddings anymore. And if you're not arranging transportation, group transportation for your guests, they're probably relying on either Lyft or Uber to get to and from your wedding, especially if they've been drinking. So you want everyone to get home safe. You want them to have that option. But if there is no cell phone coverage, they're not going to be able to call for a car, and that's going to be a problem. Same thing with social media. If you have a Snapchat filter that you want your friends to use for Snapchatting your wedding, they're not going to be able to do it if there's no cell phone coverage. And aside from those, there's also a very practical reason that you need cell phone coverage at your venue, and that is so that your planner can stay in touch with all the vendors who are showing up. If your bakery breaks down, the van breaks down when they're trying to deliver your cake, or they get lost, how are they going to get a hold of your planner if she's on site and she has no cell phone coverage? So it's a very big deal. Also think about location in terms of how hard is it going to be for your guests to get there? Like, is it a far drive? People who are flying into a major airport and staying in a major city center, how far away from those places where the people are staying is your venue? Because you don't want to inconvenience your guests. The main thing when you're throwing a large party, which is what a wedding is you want to be a good host or hostess, and you want your guests to be comfortable. So thinking of their needs will go a long way toward making you a successful host and hostess. Similarly, think about parking. If you are having your wedding at a hotel and it's downtown, it's a major city, there's no accessibility problems and there's no cell phone problems, what about parking? Are your guests going to have to park in a parking garage? And if so, are you going to get validation vouchers ahead of time and cover that cost for them? Or is everyone just going to be on their own? Just something to think about. Something else is disabled access. Are there ramps for people who are in wheelchairs? Are there a lot of steps that have to be climbed up to get inside your venue? People with walkers or canes might have a hard time with that. Is there a drop-off area? If the parking area is far away from the where the building is there a drop-off area where people can come and drop off anyone who's in a wheelchair and then go park and come in. Again, just think about your guests when you're doing this and everything will be good. So if you like these videos, you should go ahead and like it down below and go ahead and subscribe and hit that little bell. And when you do that, you'll get notifications. I post these every week, and if you're enjoying them, you can get notified when I post a new one. All right. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer, leave them in the comments. Thanks.